Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and in the news today, there's a Kickstarter going to its final stage. It's about 48 hours away from being done. Areal, a game that's meant to be the spiritual successor to Stalker, developed by West Game Studios. Now, Stalker was a big sort of sandboxy, free roam, first-person survival game, a bit like Skyrim, except if you set Skyrim in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with guns and zombies. So not much like Skyrim. And it was done by GSC, whoever they kind of, crumbled as a dev afterwards, which was a shame. So they claim to be made up of staff from GSC working on this new project called Areal, which they're kickstartering, and they want $50,000. However, things get a bit interesting. Firstly, apparently they only actually do have one person from GSC with them. Apparently they say, oh, well, we used to be tied with Vostok Games, who are one of these proper devs who did come out of the crumbling of GSC. However, Vostok Games say they've never heard of West Game Studios, and they say it must be a translation error. They're asking for $50,000 to make the game, and it's going to be a first-person shooter with survival elements, and they're using a new proprietary engine which they will develop. However, a lot of their publicity stuff contains Unity assets and Unity engine footage, but they're not using Unity. Also, they want $50,000 to make an entire first-person shooter and an engine. They also have a really odd funding skew, so I'll check the funding skew up on the screen for you now. As you can see, more recently, towards the end of the Kickstarter, there's $25,000, actually over $25,000 in 2 days. Net backers during those days, 2. Now, they say this is due to backers dropping out, backers who've paid just $1 dropping out, and they've got a conspiracy of trolls against them. So, my mind has got sort of sitting on the point of, okay, so there are many trolls, so several hundred trolls or something, sitting in a room or together on some sort of IRC or Skype, going, right, oi, someone's backed, we need to drop out one person so it looks weird. Really? You really? The more you see a conspiracy, the more likely it is you're just crazy. There's also some other weird things. Apparently Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, sent them a letter. I probably should have some sort of hat when I'm talking about Vladimir Putin. I feel that I need a Vladimir Putin hat. Right, so Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, sent them a letter, apparently, saying that his daughter really liked the project and backed it, and that he would really like to see it complete, and if he can play the alpha, then they're invited to the Kremlin and stuff. Also, the company, apparently according to the Kickstarter page, they are placed in Las Vegas, and all the money from apparently the funding is going to this guy who has previous history in Las Vegas. However, the team have admitted to being and talk about being Ukrainian. So why are they based in Las Vegas? Also, all the pictures of devs, or a lot of the pictures of devs at least, on their Kickstarter saying, oh, so-and-so does this, so-and-so does this. Those devs, those pictures are apparently stock photos. Now, there are two explanations to this. Either they needed to make devs up and got stock photos, or the person who took the dev pictures had the right to sell them as stock photos afterwards. Interesting. Their Facebook page posted some stolen art or borrowed art from another game or Unity or something, and they said, oh, this isn't our Facebook page, this is an imposter. Problem is that Facebook page had been registered for before the Kickstarter and was linked on their website, so not sure about that one there. The Reddit AMA they did recently, so they didn't ask me anything on Reddit. A lot of the responses and comments in that AMA were from one-day-old accounts, which is interesting. They won't even answer questions about who the money is going to from this Kickstarter, because it's meant to be going to someone in Las Vegas, and that they refuse to answer that. And there's another one which I particularly don't like, which is a lot of people, of course, been commenting on it, being like, oh, it's a scam, don't back it, it's a scam, pull your money out now. However, they've been flooding the comments section on their updates, or at least accounts have, which are presumably owned by them, with personal information of these guys. This is a practice called doxing, which is you basically scour the web for information about these people, or you trace back all their username and stuff, and then you try and find information on them from Facebook and stuff, and then you post it to kind of publicly shame them or whatever. For a start, really dick move, and secondly, they've posted it over and over and over and over and over and over again in all caps, presumably to just make all the spam comments go to the second page so you can't see them. Right, so this is another example of Kickstarter being weird, right? I'm not going to say it's a scam because I don't know it's a scam. I'm a guy who's doing a video from my living room. But if it smells like a turd and it looks like a turd, chances are... So there's a nice litmus test which I saw the other day and I posted on Twitter. Of course, you know, you can look in depth at a Kickstarter and you should decide for yourself. But if you need a quick litmus test, 1. Is it a new team? 2. Is it a new game franchise? 3. Is it new technology? If one of those, a little bit risky. If 2 of those, pretty damn risky. If 3 of those, it's not going to be made. Is this a new team? Yeah, they haven't worked on anything before, you know. Yeah, they're a new team. Is it a new franchise? Yes. Is it new technology? They want to create a proprietary engine and everything, so yes. That's a fairly good litmus test for if it's going to work. And you know what? I'm not going to back anywhere near this. I encourage you guys to go look at the reading because it gets hilarious. They've actually started accusing media outlets of having conspiracy against them. So yeah. In other news, Marty O'Donnell, so the guy who did the original music for all the original Halos, was fired a while back from Bungie with no apparent reason, and apparently without getting paid any of his vacation time or his sabbatical time. So he sued them. And they've just reached a settlement, which the court has just gone, yep, that's fine. And the settlement is for just under 100,000, so I think 95,000. 40% of which are the money he was due, 40% is damages, so basically they've doubled how much he was due as damages, and then 20% is legal fees and interest and stuff like that. So Marty was just fired from Bungie, and not only did he not get paid, he then got to sue them and then got paid double because they were so in the wrong that they settled it before even they actually had to do the whole court hearing. This makes me worry about Bungie a little bit. I mean, really? I mean, if you know you're that badly wrong, why would you fire him and knock him the money in the first place? It costs you double. I mean, I really want to know what led up to this, but we'll never know because, of course, it'll be something in the court proceedings. It'll be like, right, blah 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 blah, pay the money, don't talk about anything behind it. So we'll never find out, but that's an interesting one. Another news, York Ventures. So it's been implied by Wintercool, the developer for York Ventures, which recently went under. It's kind of been implied in the money breakdown because he posted a very rough breakdown. He said that 150,000 was given to the Yorks cast so that they could 50,000 for physical rewards, which were never shipped, and 100,000 for another lead developer who was never hired. So this 150,000 is basically missing. And I'm not accusing the Yorks cast by any means, by the way. This is an incredibly incendiary accusation that's kind of been implied by Wintercool. But this 150,000 is basically missing, which is kind of a lot of money. And Yorkscast have said that they're not ready to respond on this quite yet, which is a perfectly valid response because when it comes to these large amounts of money and this sort of accounting, if you're going to make a response, one, you probably want to check with legal, and 2, you probably want to check with your accountant. And these people take time and they also cost money. So, but it's a very incendiary accusation from Wintercool. If it's not wrong, then oh dear God, and if it is just complete fallacy, then really? Does he need to burn that very last bridge? The last update of the worst mod is out for Watch Dogs, so it improves all the lighting and so on. It won't be changed any further. It's version 1, and Worst has said that he's going to leave it there. If you've got Watch Dogs, probably go get that. Also get the high resolution texture pack. Personally, I kind of gave up on Watch Dogs somewhere in the Act 2 because I was just like, I don't understand this story anymore. Why should I care about this niece? I've seen her on screen for all of like fraction of a second. I don't care about this guy's motivations. He also is really a dick and I don't want to support him. I'm just not going to play the game because in a game like that, where you're kind of meant to be following the motivations of this main character, and then the story goes screwy, it does feel like it was written by a committee who hadn't even heard of stories. I mean, come on, take a page out of Mass Effect's book for that one. Anyway, moving swiftly on, LOL, League of Legends, have said that Riot So the developer of LoL said that they're going to crack down on toxic behaviour. Now this of course is going on at the same time as the Dota International 4, so one would presume that they're like, right, we need to somehow compete with Dota. What's the worst thing about LoL? People complain about, oh, the community. Let's try and sort that out. Which is, good for them. Finally sort out the toxic LoL community. That said, Dota community is pretty toxic, so I stopped playing it, but should probably get back into it. It's a fun game. Anyway, moving swiftly on, the last topic on the agenda for today, Dota 2. If you haven't watched the finals, you can probably stop watching now because I'm going to spoil it for you. The finals were between Newbie and Vici Gaming, two Chinese teams predominantly. Kind of a big letdown. It's a best of 5. The first game went to Vici, just. Both of them are very aggressive teams, right? The meta for Chinese teams is to be really aggressive. The first game went to Vici just in about 20 minutes. And then the next 3 games went Newbie, really Newbie, really Newbie. And the average time for the games was about 20 minutes. The average time for a normal game in Dota, in the internationals, is about, I think it's about 38 or 40. So all the final games were half the normal length. And honestly, they were just complete whitewash by Newbie. So if you're at all interested in Dota, don't watch those finals. Watch the finals from TI3, because that was a really good final. All 5 games were played. Alliance and Navi are both slightly different in how they play, but they're not just like end the game quickly. And honestly, I think the games this year were kind of spoiled by... Honestly, they've had massive production problems all the way through. It's been an absolute mess. Considering the money on the line, it's $5 million, over $5 million for first place. The production was an absolute mess, really. We had regular cut-ups on stream, we had audio cutouts, we had people talking without their mics turned on. Honestly, the production behind it was really bad. It culminated in the winning ceremony when Newbie were getting handed the Aegis, with the screen cutting to a black screen with no audio. Honestly, there was also a lot of feedback on a lot of the mics. So, for a start, I think TI4 was a lot better in a lot of regards. It was a smaller seating, admittedly, and they had to rush a lot of things, and you had a lot of games in a day. But TI4 felt... I mean, because of the way that the brackets worked, we already knew who one of the people in the final was going to be on the Friday, and then the finals were played on the Monday. So it kind of took a lot of suspense away from that. And honestly, the playoff stage where almost, I think it was a third of the teams got kicked out, kind of like, really? Honestly, I think TI3 was a lot better. I think that's predominantly the opinion of most people watching, is that TI3 was a lot better in a lot of regards. And also they still have problems apparently at the venue itself with things like the secret shop, where of course you can go buy merchandise, being a queue minimum an hour, typically about 3, and sometimes 5. Which seems kind of insane to me. Anyway, I'm EnterElysium, and as always, stay shiny.